Say I'm the GOAT. I still look in the mirror like go hard.
It's another Physical Tuesday for you guys today. What we're going to talk about is we're really going to talk about these fast players in the NFL, but what we really notice from their game and what we could take from their game, implement into our game, especially for the running backs, receivers, skill position players that's going to have the ball in their hands. Any type of fast player that's going to have the ball in their hands, this is the video for you to watch. But before you watch this video, before we get into the video, I want to tell you guys that below we do have the workbook for the practice. It is free. Just go down there and download that joint. Or if you're not really a workbook type of guy and you're just like, oh, well, I just need some training to get my mind right, we have our mental training program below in the description. Both of those are in the description. Go and download both of those if you are ready for that. And in terms of studying the fastest players in the league, I had to really break it down, like what makes a fast player in the NFL, or what can we take from their game. And how we determined their speed wasn't just the 40-yard dash. We had to understand how they displayed their speed in the game. There's a lot of guys that run 40s fast that, no disrespect to them, their speed in their 40s doesn't really translate into the game. And that's no shade. I really believe if you ask them, they would say the same thing. And if they have a great 40, that's great for them to display that speed there, but that doesn't always translate in the game. And you have to be able to understand the difference between the two and how that is going to affect us when we're trying to choose the fastest players to look at. So here's the fastest players in the games that we chose to look at. Shout out to Devin Hester. He don't play in the league no more. He was one of my favorite players when I was younger, so I just decided to put him up here. Tyreek Hill. This was not a hard one to guess. He literally is the epitome of speed in the NFL right now. As you see, he puts up the deuces when he's taking off, and you know he's gone. He knows he's gone, and you know he's gone. And the truth of the matter is, he can actually score from anywhere, whether it's screens, separating from D-backs on routes, which a lot of receivers struggle with. They'll have fast 40s, but they can't really separate. And he really understands how to dip his hips and really gets into a different direction and separate from D-backs. And he's also able to separate on crossing routes, which is, he doesn't really have to break down. He's literally just doing a crossing route across the field, and he's able to accelerate once he catches that ball, and he's very dangerous when he has the ball in his hands. He ran a 4.29 in a 40-yard dash, and this is actually from the combine when he came out from Oklahoma State, and he played his last year at Western Alabama. There was some little trouble there, but he showed speed in game and on the field. So I feel like he's a perfect person to look up to. Another person, Lamar Jackson, shout out to bro. He is another one. And a lot of people were like, oh, well, he's a quarterback. How is he up here? Bro, fast is fast. And if you got the ball in your hands, that's all that matters. And one thing that I feel like is very important from his game to really see is that they run a lot of read option, but even when he's in the pocket, like when he doesn't even know he's going to run, he takes off and he's able to get away from defenders. And his ability to separate from possible defenders is actually incredible as well, because as a quarterback, when he's in the pocket, there's D linemen and D ends on your neck. Pass rushers is on your neck. They're right there. And the ability for him to accelerate and get away from those defenders is incredible. And that's really important for a quarterback to get away from those players. He ran a 4.3 4.40 when Louisville had their speed day. That was like a thing that they had on campus with their football players. And this isn't even official, but like my whole thing is, if he ran a 4.34 in those conditions, and this wasn't even the year he came out, that's incredible. And deeper than that, that's also very scary, because he's a quarterback running a 4.3. Like we've never heard of that. Maybe RG3, but that's about it. Like and you see it in his game. Like he's able to really separate from everybody. He literally looks like a creative player out there. Shout out to Lamar Jackson. And the last one we're going to go into is Jalen Waddle. I know there's a lot of players. People were like, oh, well, you could have put DK Metcalf on the list. You could have put this player on the list. I chose Jalen Waddle because I felt like he was a better example than DK Metcalf, because DK Metcalf is good. He is very fast, but also he is very limited in how his speed is displayed. And we're not going to focus on the players here. We're focusing on what we can take from their game to become faster. And he ran a 4.37 in high school. Like that's moving anyways. So Jalen Waddle has the ability to accelerate and separate from defenders easily, very similar to Tyreek Hill. But he could score off screens as well. But one thing that I really focused on with Jalen Waddle was his acceleration. Like, he really accelerates and really drives to get away from defenders. His top end speed is great as well. Not as great as Tyreek Hill's, but once he's accelerating, it's very video game like. And there's a clip you guys are actually going to see here. It's very video game like. It doesn't even seem real sometimes. It's like, how did he get out of that? But the fact that he has that ability is also something we want to pay attention to here. So what do these players do? Shout out to Primetime. He is probably one of the fastest players ever. So what do these players really do that we should focus on? First thing is, you only should be straining to accelerate. This is very important because a lot of people don't really realize, and a lot of people struggle to realize, that when you're moving in the game, especially when you're moving fast like that, you really want to focus on, like, speed is a reflexive movement. It's not necessarily all You have to be able to just move. It's not always going to be grinding to move fast. So you should really grind hard to accelerate, then ease up. It should be very reflexive at that point. You should have built the acceleration at that point to be moving as fast. If you ever pay attention to cars, like a Lamborghini, when you watch a video of a Lamborghini is at top speed soon as you hit the gas. But even a more regular car that you may see, let's say a Challenger, it has great acceleration as well, but the fact that you hit the gas, and once you hit the gas and once you get the top speed, you could ease off the gas and you're still going to be moving fast. It's very similar to speed as well. Like, humans are very similar to cars in that regard. So let's look at Jalen Waddle really strained to accelerate, and not really strained, but he really drives to accelerate, and then he's kind of moving at the same speed, but you could tell he's not using as much energy. As you guys see, the arrows right there, he's right here. And once he catches this ball, he sees the defender and he's taking off. Now he's really working, but now he lets off the gas. He's already moving at that full speed. And sometimes we get caught up in like, oh, well, I have to really strain to accelerate. And strain to accelerate isn't even really a strain. As you see right here, as you see again, he's not really straining too hard. He's just really driving to get the speed rolling, to get him rolling, to move upfield. And that's what we need. Understand where your players are in space. That's also very important as well in terms of speed. That's another thing we could take from Lamar Jackson. He does this. It seems like Lamar Jackson has a run like this every single couple. It's really video game like. It's like you would think he would have these runs. You would think like he does it so effortlessly, but he really understands his speed, and he understands his speed compared to everyone else. He understands where his defenders are, which is very, very important for our next step that I'm not going to go into too much, but he understands where his defenders are, and that helps him in terms of making certain moves and getting out of jams. As you see right here, he's at quarterback, tells the guy comes in motion. Off the read option, he sees, okay, there's a guy right here. Once he makes this spin, he knew that there was a other guy over there. I want to go back because a lot of people were like, oh, well, he made that move on the one guy and the other guy just went. But he knew 30 was out of position as well. 30 was out of position. He came down and he wasn't really ready to make the tackle. And once he ate up his cushion, he was able to make that move, and the other guy was way out of position. So he made the spin on him, got in the end zone, knew where the defenders was, made a play. And that's all it's about. We got to understand where we are in space, where our defenders are coming from, and getting these guys off balance so they don't make easy tackles on us. Now, the last thing we're going to focus on is we got to trust our speed. These guys trust their speed, and they understand the importance of trusting their speed because it's everything in the game. Now, the player we're going to focus on is Tyreek Hill from last year. This is last year in the playoffs versus the Bills. As you see, Patty Mahomes, he's going to hit this guy in the numbers on a crossing route. And the way he trusts his speed is insane here because he really drives to accelerate like Jalen Waddle did. But like, look, he makes the move, and then once he does this, it's over. He stuck the deuces up at the linebacker. It's stuff like that. Like that's not even fair. Now let's look at this again. It literally just caught the ball. There's two guys. These guys don't even really realize he caught the ball because they're in man covers. They're focused on their men. Now, once he accelerates, people know he got the ball now. And then once he makes that move, he's gone. He's like, maybe he might have the angle on me. Maybe I need to make a move. No, he's gone. He understands that's the end of it, and that's the game. So remember, we got to only strain to accelerate, understand where we are in space, and trust our speed. Peace.
Check this video out on the screen if you want to be mean on that green, or real on that field, or extort on that court. The No Baller Left Behind Act supports this video. You feel me?